What I'm just going to say that I've had like 2 or 3 really good anecdotes about the first signs of something that's saying maybe this slowdown isn't what the slowdown is slowing down. Okay, I'm going to go with that. That's kind of has a good rhythm
Yeah.
to it. But what I've learned is that as human beings, we see bad news and we respond. We react very, very quickly, and we say, "Whoa, new reality!" Right? Pandemic hits, recession hits, right? War breaks out, and then the recovery is this slow, secret sort of thing that we don't see. And all of a sudden, we wake up one day and realize, "Oh man, I should have been investing and preparing and growing." But now it's too late, and because the recovery happened 6 months ago. So there's an interesting thought there. So I'm just going to put that out there and first say, welcome to the weekly briefing. This is the time where Tim Thompson and I get together to reflect on what's happening in the industry, the latest trends, maybe the hot button, the issue that business owners need to know about that are running studios and production companies. So Tim, it's good to be with you. Say hello.
Hey, it's good to be with you too, Joel, and all of you. Thanks, you guys, the dedicated ones that are coming in today without needing the email reminder to show up. We appreciate you all being here. Joel, I feel the same way. It's why I chose this topic this week specifically is we absolutely know that things are heating up. And if you wait too long for the marketing, then you're jumping straight into sales. And it might be too late to make introductions, to pivot, to position yourself into these new jobs. And why not make yourself a busy season instead of being victim and hoping that a busy season comes to you?
Yeah, it's an interesting time, and the owners that I'm working with directly, we're asking questions like, hey, if we were going to have to pivot to come out of this downturn, right, and enter in some sort of recovery. So think of the classic, you have to do more with less, right? Budgets aren't going to be as big as they used to be, or the demands have changed, or technology has changed, or AI is whatever, like whatever that pivot is, we're asking the question, how do we actually start living that today and operating that way, even though it's frustrating and annoying because we wish things would just go back to where they were 6 or 12 months ago. Like, why can't I just be busy? Why can't everybody just be throwing money at me? And I'm booked solid. And my biggest problem is I can't get enough freelancers.
Yeah, if I had like the impossible wish should be this idea of a crystal ball, so that while you're busy, I can tell you, don't worry, it's going to be quiet, but don't panic when it's quiet. I can see even further in the future that you're going to be busy again. So just enjoy the down season and take that time to invest in your company. Take that time to invest in yourself, build yourself up, get some rest. But I feel like when we're busy, we're not satisfied because we need more rest or more people. We're looking for, maybe even just to keep the machine running. We're like, oh my goodness, now that we're busy, we have to keep it even more busy. Or in the down season, we're in a total panic because it feels like it's all gone away. It'll never come back. It's funny how often business owners will tell me, am I going out of business? Should I just close down right now? It's like their first big thoughts. And I don't blame you because it does feel that way. But there's something to the seasonality of what we're creating as business owners, but also the reality of the work you can do to work yourself into projects. What a great time to pitch, to get yourself into a conversation with a new type of client, or reintroduce yourself to an old client you haven't seen for a while and pick up the pieces and not sound desperate, but feel like you're in control of the opportunity. And right now, like we get to see things sooner than most people are feeling it. So we know, like we can tell you it's warming up. This is a moment to lean in and maybe take what little crystal ball we have, whatever that tiny little thing is, and just know that something's coming. This is the chance to build.
Yeah, I want to be really optimistic right now, but I'm trying to be patient and say, okay, it's the data is purely anecdotal still. It's isolated blips. But I will say, when you hear about this 7-figure project that just awarded, you go, wow, that wasn't happening a month or two ago.
Mhm.
And then this thing happened and that thing happened. I said, those things weren't happening a month or two ago. And everyone was freaking out because those were the projects that were on hold. canceled, paused, whatever. Those clients that were saying, hey, things have changed. We need to go further up the food chain to approve. All budgets are on hold. So when you see those little blips, you say, well, maybe this is the start of something. I'm trying not to get, let my optimism get too far ahead of me. But to your point, Tim, I think the topic we want to talk about today is that idea of what does it look like to make the most of this season, knowing that things will be busy again in the future, and you won't be in a position to do or build or create certain things because you'll be too busy.
Well, and this is why we're talking about marketing instead of sales, right? Joel, you and I know if we want people to show up at the weekly briefing, we put the word sales in the title and people show up because they think all of the work is in sales, right? And when there's a sales magic trick, I'll get it in. But we're telling you right now, this is the time to do marketing. If you wait till the time it's a sell season, you won't be able to capture all the possible opportunity. Marketing is this idea of moving people from unaware to aware, getting people into your sales funnel, preparing them for their projects when they're awarding. And here's the insight, by the way, if they're going to call you in one month from now, they're thinking of you today, or they need to start thinking about you today. Otherwise, you're not being considered. They're not using your material for reference. They're not processing the idea of a storyboard with you and your team before the project is pitched to their client or moved up the food chain on their side. And if you want to be part of that process and considered when it comes to them reaching out and finding people to do the project in the sales cycle, you need to do a marketing cycle. So that's like, we know absolutely this is the time to do marketing, and don't do sales right now. Do the marketing work now so that you're prepared for sales later on.
So you just gave me an interesting thought, Tim. Everyone hates when they get invited into a competitive pitch and you later find out you were the third bid, right? You're the courtesy bid, the check bid, the third, like you were never going to win the job. Well, here's an interesting question. How can you reposition yourself right now from being the third bid to being the first when that call comes? It's a really interesting question because we tend to sort of sit back and think, I'm just going to hide behind my monitor and, create something really cool, create a new demo reel. That's not actually going to get you there.
Yeah, and we're not going to give away our sources because we're pretty good at that, but we can give away some secrets to some really good sources that know how to do this well. And one of the examples that we have recently, Joel and I were talking to somebody recently, is this thought process of right now looking at your analytics and understanding, is the traffic moving differently on our website? And if so, what area, what region, what people might be looking at our traffic, and then trying to fit that need. And one of the people you're talking to, Joel, when we were in LA, was a person telling us, oh no, I look at analytics all the time. I'm trying to determine where those future leads might come from and understand who that audience might be. And then I put things out there for them to find. And that person told us more often than not, they use our reference that I put it out in marketing for them in the board that they're presenting back to us. Something like this post that you did on Instagram. And I love that idea that they were really looking further down the road than just in what their sales team's looking at as a creative person. So today we're going to kind of talk through a concept actually that pivots on that idea of, I was thinking about even putting a poll together. Are you looking at your analytics? Do you understand your analytics? And are you doing something to affect those? Because that will be an indicator of, what's out there right now and where your feed is coming from. We'll talk about a concept today of maybe the best way to start looking at what you're doing systematically in marketing and understanding what's winning and not winning, and then where you can have a greater effect for yourself and your business moving forward.
Yeah. So what's this concept? Do you want to give a little quick backstory on how this came to your attention? And then I'm curious to sort of have you walk us through it. And I'll sort of be the vicarious business owner here and tell you why I think you're wrong.
Absolutely. So you can call it, many of you are already creative entrepreneurs. So where I am blessed and cursed to some degree is I'm in a creative field, but not necessarily creative in the same way you are. If you give me a blank screen and a bunch of pixels, it doesn't look so pretty. But so what I often think through of success for me has some strategy pieces to it. And I combine my strategy with creative ability and we get success. When I approach creative people with the idea of marketing, what's the first thing that they consider? Pretty pictures. And they want to say, don't worry, I'm going to go make my own brand new piece of my demo reel, or make this animated piece, or post a bunch of images out in the world. And they're thinking that pretty stuff will get the answer. So I often try to think of is the right word antidote or whatever, the other side of the coin there, to say, yeah, but maybe there's a strategic position that we can take as well. So that when you post things, because you'll make gorgeous stuff, it'll actually get the results you're expecting. So my strategic brain wants to find an answer that meets that need. And I came across this theory by Clay Collins. He's the founder of Landing Pages. And really the thought process of how he knows systematically which landing pages work for a website. And I thought, oh, this is a brilliant understanding of strategy of how to build out a possible solution for a creative person as well. Hey, when I put something out there, how do I know I'm getting the results I'm expecting from it, from a marketing strategy? Are you going to share that? You look like.
Oh yeah, I'm ready to share it. Do you want to share it, or is it?
Yeah.
Am I gonna?
You tell me. I'll share it. How about this?
Okay, you share because you're gonna click us through it.
Yeah,
so
sure.
Hit your play button, and then you'll do the reveal.
Prettier? Yeah. So here's my saying specifically. This is a very Tim saying. Don't boil the ocean, right? Again, like if I talk about marketing right now, and you don't have a specific strategy, you just think of all the things you want to do all at once. And then you try to figure out which comes first. How do I know how to build one thing off of the other? So taking this from Clay Collins, I'm calling this do the one thing. And I mean, not just one thing, but a series of one things that you can do to determine good marketing and good positioning for yourself out in the marketplace. And the first thing I want you to consider is just one target audience at a time. So I don't want you to think, oh, I want to get into documentary film, so I'm going to post something out there right now. And I want to make sure that my base is covered in broadcast animation. So I'm going to do that out there. And I want to do something in international marketplace. And so you're thinking, I don't know where to go. So I'm going to fish at all of the ponds all at once. And I have different poles out there. If you don't do one thing at a time, you'll never be able to understand and read the results of the work that you're doing. So if you just understand one target audience at a time and pick one target audience and post something for them, you'll see if that target audience is matching or you're matching their needs with the results you're getting through your analytics.
So the obvious pushback here is anyone here is if they're an owner, they're saying, yeah, but right, like we have, I don't know, maybe we have 3, 4, 5, 6 different types of clients, right? Shouldn't we be communicating and nurturing all of them, because we never know where the next job is going to come from? And if we focus on the wrong target audience that isn't busy, doesn't have budgets, it's the seasonality, right? If we pick the wrong one, then all the money is going to go elsewhere.
I love the way you asked that question, because the first question you would ask, I'd say, yeah, shouldn't we understand who that target audience is? Don't we have 6 fields, and don't we have to more clearly understand who our audience is in those 6 fields? Do we understand them properly? One thing I would understand with confidence is the clients that already know you, the marketing is done. Moving from unaware to aware, that part is finished. So you don't have to go after and market your current clients. We're wondering in this moment, can I make myself busier than what usually happens? So this one audience focus allows me to ask a question: can I reach out one step beyond what my traditional work is? But also you asked, what you said in the second part of the question was stating the fear. I'm afraid that if I don't do the work, all of it goes away. And I have to help people work beyond that with confidence of like, really? Do you really think it would go away? We haven't even started the sales cycle yet. We're just talking about the marketing cycle of your outreach right now. We know that sales will capture some of that information when the time comes because you have existing clients and existing leads. We're talking about something new here, this a new audience and new targets for your work.
Well, you're making me think of one idea, Tim. You know how we teach the 3 R's, right? You take projects because of the real, the relationship, or the reward. It wouldn't be too difficult to look at my different buckets of clients, where I would say, okay, Tim, I've got clients in entertainment, I've got clients in brand direct, I've got clients in advertising agencies. And then if you ask me, which of those has the most untapped potential, right? Like, do you know 50% of all the brands that are all the entertainment companies? That's actually not that many more leads. But if you go over to brand direct, you might have 10, 20, 30 relationships, but there's probably 10,000 that you don't have. And could we somehow look at the 3 R's and say, who out there, like the wins that we've had, how can we find those similar patterns? Like we do really well in pharmaceutical, or we do really well with, I'm looking at Roxy, right? We do really well with certain types of food brands and restaurant brands or something, and say, oh yeah, I can go after that category.
Yeah, you can. This might be a good follow-up next week, Joel, is the matrix, the tools that we have out there to help people understand their marketplace and the upside potential that they're currently not tapping into, to help them determine a better marketplace for them, for their work.
Sure.
Here specifically, I would say, look at your analytics, understand where the numbers are coming from, and create a theory, and then post something, one target audience there. Just see what's happening and judge it. We're not saying you're not going to do this for 9 months just with one target audience. We want to see right now what's happening. What kind of returns do you get from the effort you're putting out there? The next thing we want you to do is just focus on one expertise or solution when you're posting to that audience. Narrow the offering down as close as possible to your expertise, your genius, to see if you actually fit that need. If you have more than one possible solution, leave the others in reserve for now and put your best foot forward. Be picky, choose what kind of work you want to do, and see if you can find an audience that will engage you with that work. If that work comes in, you don't have to find that secondary, third, fourth, fifth solution and offering that isn't getting you the returns you want to right now. Marketing is to capitalize on the greatest things you do, not chase the bottom, thinking it's about cash flow. We're not trying to do that right now. We're at the very, very beginning of your cash cycle. We're doing the marketing side part of it.
Now, this one I get a little bit excited about rather than fear-based, because I think, well, gosh, that means I could sort of take my best work that had the most impact, that maybe was some of the best budgets we've ever won, and double down on that, like put that out there and say, can we repeat that? And maybe to the exclusion of other solutions, other expertise that we might have. So that one actually, to me, sounds kind of fun.
Yeah, target like audience with like solutions and see which ones connect. See what results you're getting. Results might look like likes on LinkedIn or Instagram, people following up with you. Even as you tag people, you might be able to use the same post and tag people differently and see what people respond and comment back. These are all responses you're looking at, besides just those charts that Google provides you for your website. Here's the next thing I want people to do. Have one conversation at a time. What I mean by this is, I don't want you to think that you have to open up a can of worms and then answer all the questions to everyone everywhere. Don't worry about that right now. In this specific game plan, we're going to have one target audience, one solution, and then narrow down to one conversation. We're trying to convert people here, right? So we don't have to have conversations of all the potential things we want to do. We actually want to find the group of people that would eventually convert to a project and stick with that conversation. Other people you can like and appreciate, whatever, but don't chase all the leads. And to be clear, I'm not saying have a conversation with one person. I'm saying have the same conversation with all the leads that are going out there to see if you can't qualify more leads into the greater offering that you provide.
I'm kind of wondering if, it's challenging if I'm a studio owner to think, well, what is the one conversation? But the thought I'm having is, what is the conversation where I most often convert, right? Where do I generate the most curiosity? Where do I have the most interesting why conversation that exposes their deeper needs and leads to a really great engagement? And then it's kind of interesting because you make me think, well, gosh, if I could focus on that one thing, maybe I could have 50 outreaches and know that I only need 10% or 5% of them to respond, because I know if I can get them into that conversation, the chances are good I'm going to win.
Yeah, to me, I like to point out that the words conversion and conversation seem very relatable, right? And that, how do I get the conversion? Through conversation, through dialogue. And my thought process is here, getting it down to one conversation, is to actually get to the, let's say, for example, I want to work myself into a strategy conversation. This is the moment to do it. I've found the lead, I drove them to a source, and now when I follow up with them, I'm following up with them on the strategy work I did on that project, not the post work or the animation work or something else further downstream. I can have a conversation that I don't have to commoditize myself off the bat. I can keep myself up in that strategy position. I might want to sell myself as a director instead of just an animator. This is the moment to talk about your directing skills, the work that you like to do, your vision, your purpose on working on the projects, not just your execution and deliverables. So if you want to have a future conversation or if you want better results in the future, you want to have a conversation today that drives those future results in the right realm, so that when you convert, you're converting into this new place, this new area of the relationship. All right. The next thing is one source. Now, this is very difficult for people because it's like, oh my gosh, which one do I choose? Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, but just choose one, because what you want to see, if you do one source at a time, you'll see which ones convert the best. You also recognize the kind of effort you have to put into it. So I personally think Instagram is a lot of work for the conversions I get at RevThink. It takes a lot to move around pixels and keep up with all the, and then the latest trend. Where LinkedIn for me works very well because it engages in dialogue. It almost asks for dialogue. It's what the platform is known for. So I like the idea of a certain platform for the type of work and conversation I want to have. I want you to learn too the effort it takes to keep up with a platform, as well as what kind of conversions you get. It might be worth the effort, it might not. And in your marketing strategy, you want to find the one thing that's going to work for you to get you to that bigger job, better resources, better clients, better projects.
Well, you're making me mad here, because if I put on my owner hat, I think, yeah, but when I post on Instagram, all of my peers like me, right? Like, oh, but all of the people that kind of know me and that I hang out with and that I want to like me, they like my post and they comment on my post and they kind of give me those little pats on the back. And then of course, the other side of that coin is, yeah, but the buyers are almost all on LinkedIn.
Yeah, right. If I have a Substack that's showing my expertise, is Instagram the right place to put it? If that's the conversation and how I'm putting myself out there for this conversion? No, I clearly want to be in a more dialogue-based platform. And LinkedIn allows me to call out other experts and like their stuff and follow up with them, comment on their work. So getting it down to one source also just helps you understand that whole opportunity for conversion. And I love what you're saying, beyond being recognized and being famous among your peers, but actually being seen as the expert in your field and doing the work it takes to get there. Okay, here's the last one. Just do it for one season. We don't have to do all marketing all the time for everywhere all at once and it lasts forever. Do it for a few weeks, do it for a month, do it for this season, but just recognize that you're looking for results that work today. And then this is what I tell everybody, give yourself the ability to change your mind. Know that it's not going to be perfect. You're going to want to try different things as the time goes on, or in a slow season, you'll market one way. In a busy season, you'll market another way. And in the Revolve Accelerator, we're talking about this a lot. In this season that we're in right now, how do we understand and work ourselves through it? So seasons are very important to recognize. I think we all desire the one-time solution that works for infinity. And the reality is it's not true. We have to do this one season at a time.
Well, I can wrap my head around that one because I can say, oh, Tim, I think it looks like it went back to your share.
No.
The idea of the season is almost that idea of what I would call, I can wrap my head around a campaign, right? Because if I wrote in each one of your boxes that you had there, okay, we're going to go after automotive with this particular expertise. We're going to have this one conversation. We're going to go hit them on LinkedIn, and we're going to do it for 6 weeks. That's a campaign. I can create a sales pipeline around that, right? I can create a whole marketing robot that's going to do a bunch of things for me and queue up a bunch of stuff and like kind of run that thing, get it going, and then just come back in 6 weeks and say, what happened? That season is done. What happened? And am I happy with that? Because if so, great, keep it going. But I'm probably going to tweak it and do another campaign and see what I learn.
Yeah. And I love the idea. People want to solve the problem often with a piece of their demo reel or pulling something from old work, but your creative mind can get to work seasonality and actually make different things for different seasons. You can often think of the season as the challenge in and of itself, and then working campaign by campaign. Your clients are running campaigns. Shouldn't you be thinking of what it's like to be your client by running your own marketing and social media campaigns? Get out there, give it a shot. So hopefully this is like a very practical way of taking advantage of this season. It will be busy. What work can I do today? Oh, I'm giving you all permission. Keep it simple. That's all that's my encouragement today. I wanted to give you one simple way of walking through something that you can accomplish on a daily basis. Make some decisions. You're not making them forever. Just make a decision one at a time, one target, one solution, one conversation, one source, and one season. Just put it out there and see how this works. Measure the results, learn from it, pivot, and keep on growing in your marketing.
So tomorrow, Tim, I don't think you know this yet. So tomorrow we're going to go kind of deep on this inside of Confab, because we have 3 owners who said, yes, I'll share what's working, right? Because we all built this simple marketing system last winter that was like, how do we do lead generation? How do we warm people up? How do we get a constant stream of leads? How do we put them into our sales pipeline? How do we do micro content? All this stuff. I've asked 3 different owners. So Val from Brasileiro, Jared from Deep Sky, and oh wait, who was my other victim who agreed to? Oh yeah, Nico at Resonate. They're gonna share like what's working and what's not working, right? Where did we get stuck? Where are we seeing results? So that's going to be really cool. And I'm really proud to see everyone showing up, putting that effort, like you talked about, into let's build this as we prepare for the busy season. Or this is all the other question I had for you, and this is for maybe for next week. Are we preparing for the busy season, or are we actually creating the busy season? How do we know?
We're creating it. Of course we have to create it. The best way to deal with the future is to create it. Why would you want to be a victim to a season one way or another? Let's premeditate the idea, put it out there as a strategy, accomplish the goal, and do what we want to do with our lives. We're always creating. Come on, right? Yeah. It is I love the idea of just being in the headspace, knowing that you are in control of the results, and to remind yourself, hey, like you have a lot of things going on. It's very busy. I know that, but you are in control, and there's work that you can do in very simple forms to get the results that you're looking for. That's our encouragement. And Joel, I appreciate that these other business owners are sharing, because anyone in Confab tomorrow can kind of just get some ideas or get some inspiration. You're going to have to do something uniquely yours, right? You can't copy someone else's, but just get some inspiration of how people are succeeding and what's working or not is good feedback to making your own strategy.
Yeah, we'll be talking about frameworks and methods, right? The specifics are totally going to be you and your original thoughts. I just saw a question from Kevin that Confab is at noon Eastern on Thursdays. So for those of you that are in the community and members of Confab, we'll see you there. And Tim, I think that wraps us up for another weekly briefing.
Sometimes this flies by. Like sometimes the half hour last feels like it's 10 minutes. Today was one of those 10-minute experiences. So
I don't know.
Thank you all for being part of it.
It's 11:30 here in Milan, so it may have been going a little slower for me than you.
Yeah. Maybe it is. It's only 2:30.
All right. Well,
Thank you
thanks
all
for
for
doing
joining
this,
us.
Tim. Thanks for sharing the thought. We'll see you all around the community. If you're not a member there, go to where? Community.revthink.com or revthink.com/community.
Yeah, the second one.
Either one. Okay. Oops. Shame on me. All right. So if you're not a member of the community, we welcome you to join. And then for some of you, I'll see you tomorrow in Confab. So thanks, Tim. Thanks,
Of
everyone.
course. Bye, guys.